time to call this December regular meeting of the Board of Education to order. Roll call, please.
Mr. Stone?
Here.
Mr. Murdoch?
Here.
Dr. Johnson?
Here.
Mr. Schiefer? Here. Mrs. Stone?
Here. Would y'all please stand and join in the Pledge of Allegiance? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve the minutes of the November 21st, 2013 regular meeting?
So moved. Support.
Any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Mr. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Murdoch?
Yes.
Dr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Schiefer?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes. Do we have a motion to approve the treasurer's financial report dated November 30th, 2013?
So moved. Support.
Any comments this evening?
Yeah, good evening, members of the Board of Education. Mrs. Stone. As we closed out the month of November, general fund had deficit spending of $227,000. We're going to continue to beat the drum of our deficit spending and examining ways that we can rein that in. Mr. Kimmel and I have begun to have discussions regarding staffing levels, retirements, attrition, and ways that we can attempt to close that gap on a projected deficit for this year. With the loss of students this past October, deficit we're anticipating is going to be between $440,000 and $475,000 at this point in time. It's fluid, but obviously it's substantial in regards to the carryable balance. So after the first of the year, Mr. Kimmel and I are going to get together. We know the buildings have scheduling issues they need to begin to work through, but we're going to look at our levels and make sure we're adequately staffed in areas that we can reduce them to close some of the gap on that. Second item I'd like to discuss with you tonight, we're going to begin the process of looking at House Bill 264, financing some of the energy projects, examining ways to improve our facilities. Met with the owner of Heat down in Columbus last week. Had an opportunity to discuss our facility. Mr. Grau is very interested in LED lighting. Again, looking at ways we can drive down our operational costs. The way House Bill 264 works, we can finance out these projects for 15 years. I guess my goal would be to pay back or pay off would be within 10 to 12 years, so that we're well underneath where OSFC or OFFC now projects these savings would be. There's a lot of little cleanup items. Interestingly, OSFC is tightening down these projects because what they've discovered is facilities since 2006 that have been renovated, these third-party companies can come in and they're actually saving more money on these than they are retrofitting older projects. So it's a little bit of egg on the face of the state. So they're clamping down on these, really looking at the savings hard. One area that's going to require a substantial piece of work out of our office, it is debt financing, and because of the drop in our valuation with our existing bonds that are out there, we exceed the 9% allowed by the state of Ohio. ODE will grant exceptions to this for these projects, but it's a process that we have to work through Superintendent Ross after we gain his sign off on these to move forward. So before we can even move forward, we have to work with ODE to get this in place. An item of concern, I guess, as we look out, federal budget has been agreed to by both parties. No extension on unemployment, and that's going to affect 1.8 million Ohioans. Obviously, we're going to have some folks impacted here locally. The bigger issue there with me on our federal grant programs is the idea of a sequester part 2. They've reached agreement on the budget, but not the debt ceiling. And I'm hearing that after the first of the year, that's going to become the next battle, and it could impact our title funds. That is basically all I have for my report. Any questions in the month of November?
Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Schiefer?
Yes.
Dr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Murdoch?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes. And I don't believe we have an addendum this evening, correct?
No, ma'am.
Okay, we'll go ahead and go to committee reports. Mr. Stone, legislative?
I have no report beyond that which Mr. Cook
reported on.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Athletics, Mr. Schieffer.
Yeah, just a couple items here. The Athletic Council had their meeting this past Monday, and two items of significance were discussed. One was the Hall of Fame proposal, some discussion was had on that, and Jay Dennison will be chairing that committee and looking at criteria for the committee, and there's a future meeting coming up in January, so be discussing that further down the road. The other item was the tennis courts. Mr. Grandy was here and at our last meeting and made a nice proposal to us as far as what he would like to see us consider taking work here to make some improvements at the tennis courts. And those items were discussed and approved, and we will be moving forward with those coming up as letters permit. So it's a nice good business. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. I went to Pioneer on Monday evening, and it was basically business as usual for this time of year. Glenna did mention to us, Brian, I want you to especially listen to this, okay? That they have started doing, they're planning for a levy, and I know that, you know, that is something that we have to look at, maybe not now, but soon in the future. And they started doing a payroll deduction for their staff. And they have got a really nice pot of seed money now for, I think they're planning on doing it, I think it's a year from now is when they're going to start their levy campaign. So I didn't know if that's something you could look into, if possibly setting up for, I mean, we've got a lot of staff here this evening, to be able to do something like that, to maybe get that ball rolling.
Yeah, I think it's prudent. I don't see any issue with establishing that for the staff. Obviously, we've got long-term planning to do other issues, levy issues. We know that finance is tight, and the committee's going to need all the resources we can to move that forward. So we can certainly move that forward, and hopefully get staff buy-in to contributing to that as well.
Thank you. And that's the end of my report. Dr. Johnson, student achievement.
I have no report this evening.
Wellness, Mr. Murda.
Well, there was no meeting, but a lot of things going on. The basketball game last night between the firemen and the police was held to support the backpack program last evening. It was pretty well attended, and police won by 2. They apparently ran out of gas because Lori told me they were up by 20. The lunch is being served on Friday and served by the administrators. Several administrators will be handling that. Still in need of people for packing the backpacks and stocking shelves, that type of thing. The Future Chef competition is scheduled for March 10th for 3rd through 5th graders. And finally, the money that's in dispute with the Salvation Army is currently being held in trust and being dispersed as we need it. So the funds are available at the moment. We're still working through those issues with that. But other than that, that's about it for wellness.
Thank you. And our student representative, Mr. Johns.
The students are actually getting together tomorrow. A good sized group of juniors, seniors, and sophomores are going to be going to the middle school side of the secondary building to promote a healthier environment for students living with disabilities, visible and invisible, and kind of decrease any like bullying type scenarios, and just try to build a more open-minded school.
Good.
Being headed up by the DECA chapter. I'm the president of that, so we have a good size, probably about 20 kids volunteering for that tomorrow.
That's wonderful.
So that's going to be going on the middle school side. That's about all I have to
Because you're ready to get out of here for Christmas, right? Thank you, Mr. John. And we'll go to the superintendent's report.
President, still members of the board. Prior to tonight's board meeting, we had a business meeting, and one of the areas that we're taking a look at is we have some masonry problems with the annex building. Bricks are falling apart, cracks in the foundation. We have a preliminary quote from a firm in Marion, and the sad part about this is that it's quite a bit of money, and nobody will really realize the improvements if we have to make them. But we're going to have some discussions in the spring with the board about whether this is a priority or not. I'm going to pass this around. There's some very good pictures, very good proposal. The tuck pointing that's needed at the annex, and to help fix some of the cracks in the exterior. Total cost is $67,300. And believe it or not, the elementary building, we have some, the chimney above the roof is falling apart. There's bricks that are starting to become loose. In order to tuck point those and secure that facility, we're looking at a little over $13,000. So it's endless drain that we're trying to close the gap on, but there's two areas that we will need to have some discussions on. What I would recommend is that we have a work session after the first of the year to take a look at some financial pieces and make some priorities. Like we've done quite a bit in the past. We've met at least once a year and made some fiscal decisions. I think that's prudent to have that on the agenda after the first of the year. On a positive note, I was able to go to the elementary today. We had the, thanks to Mrs. French, brought the vocal motion and players down to perform to the elementary students. Tremendous program, and I had the kids engaged for an hour. So that was impressive. The preschool kids were bouncing up and down those chairs back there. I wasn't sure how long they were going to last, but really exciting, and got to hear some excellent performances, and students showed off their talent today. So appreciate the two buildings working together to pull that off. Also had an opportunity to start the Polar Express down there. Got to move some chairs, and Mrs. James and the kindergarten teachers did a nice job of putting that experience on for the kids. Hot chocolate topped with whipped cream and chocolate chip cookies. So kids seem to really enjoy that. I know there's lots of activities tomorrow at the secondary building. We have the community luncheon. We have the annual Redmond reunion, which always brings back a good portion of our graduates to talk to the seniors about what their experience so far in college. Do we know how many kids are coming back at this point tomorrow? Typically, we have about 20 to 25 kids come back. Okay. And that's, I know that the seniors really look forward to hearing, seeing their friends that graduated last year, have come back and share the experiences that they've had so far the first semester of college. Also, we have the annual reindeer games tomorrow. And my understanding that maybe there's going to be some middle school portions in the morning, and then the secondary as their games in the afternoon. So hopefully there's no weather issues tomorrow. My 4 a.m. mornings have started, and fortunately we've only used 2 calamity days. Our neighbors out to the west have used 4. And it's not even Christmas yet. So hopefully the weather straightens around and we have a little bit more weather like we're going to have this weekend where it warms up. So that ends my report.
And may I thank you for taking me off of the automatic early morning calls.
Not a problem.
Yeah, same here.
Anytime you want to be added back on, I'd be more
Yeah, I'll
happy
call
to
you.
do that. Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin. Did anybody want to address the board this evening? Okay. And we will go on to personnel certified staff items. Mr. Kimball?
President Stowe, members of the board, it's my recommendation to approve items A through E under the personnel certified staff section of the agenda.
We have a motion to approve items A through E under personnel certified staff.
Board.
Any questions or comments for Kevin? Roll call, please.
Mr. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Schieffer?
Yes.
Dr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Murray?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes. And we'll go to personnel classified staff items.
President Stowe, members of the board, it's my recommendation to approve items A through D under the personnel classified section of the agenda.
We have a motion to accept the personnel classified staff items.
So moved. Support.
Any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Dr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Murdo?
Yes.
Mr. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Schieffer?
Yes.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes. And then to the business items.
President Snow, members of the board, it's my recommendation that you approve items A through D under the business section of the agenda.
We have a motion to accept the business items.
So moved. Support.
Any questions or comments for Mr. Kimmel? Roll call, please.
Mr. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Murdo?
Yes.
Dr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Schieffer? Yes. Mrs. Stone?
Yes. Okay, we have a discussion item this evening. We need to have a president pro tem for January to run the organization. Anyone? Anyone?
I'll nominate myself.
Second.
Okay.
Stephen probably didn't have it, but it wanted to nominate.
Any other nominations? Okay. Roll call, and we'll vote on Doug being president pro tem.
Mr. Stone?
Yes.
Mr. Murdo?
Yes.
Dr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Schieffer?
Yes, and the key is pro tem.
Mrs. Stone?
Yes. Communications this evening? Kevin, anything?
Have a happy, Merry Christmas.
Well, I was going to say
Happy
that at the
holidays,
end. As far as announcements go, the organizational meeting will be Monday, the 13th at 6, with the regular January meeting immediately following. You guys be sure and be here.
We want a full report from the JVS.
Yeah.
I won't have a meeting by then. They don't meet till the 15th.
Report February.
That's right. If there's nothing else?
There is. There is.
Well, see something over here in his cabinet. Sandy, can you stand up here?
Don't do this to me.
Come on. Most of you know that Sandy is serving her last meeting as board president after 20 years on the board, serving this community, of which 16 of the years I have had the pleasure of working with her in my various roles in the district. And I can say without a question that how much I appreciate her leadership, her dedication to the students, staff, and community. Very well respected in the community. I know that wherever I go, people feel comfortable talking to Sandy, expressing their concerns. And the nice thing about it is that Sandy's always has an open and active ear. She doesn't jump to conclusions, doesn't try to micromanage this district. She allows people that she's hired to do their job, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate that as a superintendent. Getting around the different communities, I will tell you that that is not the case. A lot of times boards of education, especially board presidents, outside of the meetings, decide that they're going to, behind closed doors, run the district. If that was the case here in the district, I would not be the superintendent, I can tell you that. So Sandy has not done that. And I can't tell you that every time that there's decisions to be made, she will ask if this is best for kids, then we will do it, even though it may cause problems, may not always have the money, but she is always there ready to take a stand and protect all of our kids. Those that are in need, those that have stuff, she's always protective of all the kids. So for that, I want to thank you, and I appreciate everything you've done for us. So on behalf of the Board of Education and School District, we have copper kettle that we'd like to present you. And we have a little but thank you very much.
That's good. Thank you, guys. You know, it has been 20 years. I think back at my kids, and they were like
I was 10.
10.
Carson's lead.
Yeah, and 14, and I don't know where all the time went, but I can honestly say if I had to do it all over again, I'd do it again. So that's it. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Yes.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Schiefer,
Yes.
Mr. Murray,
Yes.
Mr. Stone,
Yes.
Dr. Johnson,
Yes.
and for the last time, Mrs. Stone.
Thank you all for coming this evening. Have a Merry Christmas and a great New Year. And see you around.